In this podcast, I would like, in fact, to study the reactions of Hardy when he read for the first time the letter of Ramanujan. It was an unknown mathematician for him, so it was totally free to think everything he wants. The reaction are very characteristic from someone who is a classical mathematician. And we know, of course, that Ramanujan was not a classical mathematician. So he sent him 120 theorems. They are in reality formal identities extracted from his notebooks. In his book, Hardy mentioned only a few of them. Maybe for him, the more representative. And it's interesting to see this as an example of abstract intelligence due to Ramanujan, which is studied by the classical intelligence of Hardy, who has of course, a very high level, not only in maths, but also in intelligence. So the difference is the professional mathematician and the non-professional, so Hardy and Ramanujan. And in his book, he tried to reconstruct the immediate reaction of an ordinary professional mathematician who receives a letter like this from, of course, a non-unknown Hindu mathematician. So the first idea of Hardy was if he was able to recognize something. So the answer is, of course, yes. He had proved things like this. His analysis mentioned, for example, the formula of Laplace, and also from Jacobi. He mentioned also Rogers. But the idea is that after the recognition of things which are very close to his intention, not only his field, is that the integral formula seems to be the least impressive. So he mentioned also the series formula. For him, it was more intriguing. So the idea was that Ramanujan must possess much more general theorems, and he used them to make some new identities. So we realized by this comment that Ramanujan has, maybe from K, create a whole universe with codes, with shapes, with relation, not in a natural way for a professional mathematician, but for him, it was something which is natural. So it's interesting to see the difference between the two mathematicians and realize that it's possible to have one of them who is more close to our definition of abstract intelligence. How he managed to prove with quotation, of course, not exactly proofs, but to prove and to state at least his formal identities without the classical knowledge of a professional mathematician. I mean, it's another proof that if the problem is complete in the sense of the code we mentioned in a previous podcast, that we have a picture, we have a code, we have a key, we break the code, and we don't need any choices to find the correct answer. It seems to me that Ramanujan used this path, this methodology, to find, maybe sometimes with serendipity, these formulas, and the reaction of the classical professional mathematician, it's relevant because it's a way to emphasize the lateral thinking of Ramanujan, to see things which are not obvious in a classical way. And if we had only the theorems of Ramanujan without the comment of Hardy, maybe it would be more difficult to have a statement like this and to say that you can see it's an example. So the difference between the non-professional, non-classical mathematician with the other one is a way for us to find something which is more J-loaded, with less culture, less memory, less tradition, and to see Ramanujan as an example of mathematical abstract intelligence, which was able to prove so many theorems without classical proofs. So if we see him as a natural paradigm of an abstract intelligence in mathematics, like Beethoven in music, or maybe Da Vinci in paintings, maybe it's more easy for you to understand what we meant with this new definition of the abstract intelligence in this field.